Good day and welcome to SCO BRICS Insight, where we talk about the latest news, information and analysis of what's really going on in Russia and the BRICS. Now, my name is Rhod Mackenzie, and today I want to talk about the recent news from Kiev and Helsinki, as it was announced with great fanfare that the Russophobic and globalist Finnish president Alexander Stubb has been awarded the Ukrainian Order of Yaroslav the Wise, the first-class version. Now, I don't think he was awarded this for the destruction of his own economy by sanctioning Russia and cutting off all business ties with it. Now, much to their own detriment, the Finns have not only given up their neutrality and joined NATO, but they've invested a great deal in supporting Ukraine. However, following their recent understanding of the consequences, there appears to be a shift in their perspective, with President Stubb himself considering trying to restore relations with Russia. Good luck with that, Stubb, you globalist arselicker. Now, the Finnish Chamber of Commerce has announced that Finland has suffered the most of all countries in the EU from its severance of economic ties with Russia. Many large companies have found themselves in a pre-bankruptcy state, and Rhod Mackenzie, who's the director of the Central Chamber of Commerce of Finland, has acknowledged the close correlation between the drop in Finnish exports and its trade with Russia. And it's precisely this point that the majority of the issues arise, according to Stubbs. He said, "We're unable to make any changes to our geography, and we've had a long-standing relationship with Russia, and we are committed to a shared future. And it's evident that the relationship is facing some significant challenges." He said, "The war has unfortunately prevented the establishment of new relations thus far, but we are confident that this will change in the future." I mean, is this guy a delusional idiot or what? Anyway, before I continue, I'd like to make an appeal. If you like and enjoy my videos, you can help me fund the channel and contribute to its further development. You can do this by making a small donation, which you can do by clicking on the thanks button at the bottom of the video screen, or by clicking on the Buy Me a Coffee link below in the credits. Everybody who donates does get a personal thank you from me, and I'm thanking you all now just for watching. Now, also, keep the comments coming. Love to read them, love to respond to them. Now, throughout Stubbs' political career, he's been a globalist and, by Finnish standards, an anti-Russian hawk. However, he's recently adopted a more conciliatory stance and even allegedly putting forward constructive proposals for solving the situation in the Ukraine along the lines of Finland's after the Russia-Finnish conflict of 1944. Now, it's likely that he was briefed on the findings of a recent Finnish opinion poll, which revealed that 2/3 of Finns are in favour of restoring relationships with Russia, albeit with the caveat that the war must end and the government must change. Now, the Finnish people's aversion to Russia is evident, but the gravity of the situation economically for them is undeniable. I mean, in the past 5 years, the Finnish economy has been subject to two significant challenges. The first was obviously posed by the emergence of the COVID-19 pandemic, and the second by the subsequent rupture in the economic relationship with Russia. Consequently, a broad range of sectors have experienced significant downturns. These include the energy sector, tourism, construction, civil aviation, and woodworking. From April to June 2025, the unemployment rate in Finland was 10.2%. That's around 300,000 of working age out of work, compared to 9.3% in the same period last year. Now, the wholesale and retail trade sectors have experienced the greatest decline in employment, with a loss of 40,000 jobs. In July 2025, the number of bankruptcy cases initiated and by companies and organisations was 251. From 2024 to 2025, there were 3,789 cases. That's 500 more than during the global financial crisis of 2009. The construction industry, which once provided employment to thousands and tens of thousands of people, was regarded one of the primary drivers of the Finnish economy, has now become a source of serious concern. Now, this sector accounts for the highest number of bankruptcies. In April alone, 87 companies filed applications for bankruptcy. All sectors of the construction industry in Finland are experiencing a decline, including residential, which is apartments, townhouses and cottages, plus commercial and commercial industrial. The total number of construction sites has decreased from 36,000 in 2022 to 17,000 in 2024. Now, the Finnish Business Association cites a study in which 29% of industries have described their situation as very difficult or very bad. Business leaders have expressed concerns regarding the population's declining purchasing power because of increasing taxes and global uncertainty. And it's worth noting, though, that 34% of entrepreneurs surveyed did think that they were hoping that things would get better in the future, but only if they improve relations with Russia. A mere 16% think there's going to be a deterioration. However, it should be noticed that this is all about serious geographical references. The representatives of companies from the eastern regions that border Russia are the most pessimistic about the situation, and it's evident they've been issuing the pessimistic predictions for some time, since these regions were the ones most popular with Russian tourists and have been rendered economically depressed due to the closed border, which has been a notable decline in any optimism. Now, there were comments made by Maury Curie, who's the head of a tourism company, having generated significant controversy in the press around the country. According to the businessman, the most intelligent members of his professional network are already establishing themselves in international markets. He's currently contemplating a partial transfer of his business operations to foreign parts. It's recommended, he says, that his children leave Finland as soon as they've completed their educational studies. Kuru also expressed concerns about the government and the deterioration of the quality of life and the lack of prospects for any people in Finland. He said following his investment of €9 million in the construction of a holiday village in the Lapland municipality of Muno, it appears that the project is now not profitable due to the lack of Russian tourists. He said the total number of tourists to Muno are now very low and the trips are not affordable for Finnish people. And this is an inevitable consequence of the declining business that shows that tax collections will also decline. The budget deficit in the state budget will continue even after the programme of expenditure cuts. In the current climate, there's an increasing trend of the dismissal of officials and government and a reduction in social benefits. And this has resulted in a series of industrial action that have been persistent over the past year or so. Now, these economic stabilisation measures that the government's introduced have brought in savings of €2.6 billion, which is not a lot. Concurrently, the tax burden still continues to rise for those who are still paying taxes, and the increase in VAT was very unpopular when the rate went up from 24 to 25.5%. Now, the tax rate on insurance premiums has also gone up, and that's resulted in price increases for a wide range of products, including pharmaceuticals and food. However, the Finnish state thinks it's going to receive an additional €1 billion this year from some of these extra taxes. However, the sturgeon cuts will not stop there. Finance Minister Riikka Purra announced that spending will be cut by a further $1 billion next year. Following a period of reflection, she said that she and her colleagues have successfully reduced the figure of cuts from €1 billion to €900 million through a meticulous process. The total annual budget of the Finnish state is approximately €76 billion, and to avoid a significant increase in the deficit, the government is going to borrow €13.2 billion this year. Finland's total public debt exceeds 80% of its GDP, which is roughly the average among EU countries. But it's difficult to service this debt because of interest rates, and that means the country is taking on new debts and implementing further austerity measures. Now, this strategy entails a reduction in expenditure with unpopular items such as the integration of incoming migrants and aid to developing countries being targeted for cuts. Moreover, popular items such as funding for popular organisations and subsidies for business have also been cut. It's also planned to abolish the state education department and leave it up to local authorities. Nevertheless, the budget deficit is expected to reach almost €10 billion next year. Now, Viking Line, which is a ferry company operating between the various Baltic seaports, has now threatened to transfer its ships to under the Swedish flag if Finnish authorities cut the amount of subsidies that they pay for crew members. According to the Finance Ministry, this will result in the savings of 36 million euros. Now, the Maritime Union has stated that this will result in shipping in Finland becoming unprofitable. It's claimed that thousands of seamen will be left without work, not to mention the service personnel of cruise ships, and that ships will not return once they transfer their allegiance to another flag. Consequently, Finland will experience the loss of a major part of its merchant fleet. So, the President of Finland has been honoured with the Order of Yaroslav the Wise, and it was evident that it was not awarded because he was a wise leader. Anyway, thank you for watching. Please set the alert bell so you get notified when I post a new video, and if you want to help me fund the channel, you can make a donation by clicking on the thanks button at the bottom of the video screen, or click on the Buy Me a Coffee and the link in the credits. Thank you.